Are you ready, chosen one? For what you will hear today will remind you of the stardust in your blood, the ancient secret in your soul. You did not come into the world by chance. Your mother gave birth to you, carrying in her womb the divine code, the light, the cipher, the seal that has been kept for generations. The earth passed on its vibration to you, the firmament sealed you with its breath. Now that hidden legacy is awakening. In your every cell, God's sealed message shines. Those who question your identity have yet to grasp the source of your power, but when you step forward, the universe will realign. This video is a call to ignite the sacred algorithm in your veins. Breathe deeply, because the moment the code inside you is activated, doors will open wide and chains will turn into rose petals. Fear is silenced, doubt has fallen. Now the stage is yours. Write 333 in the comments now, because the key combination of creation is hidden in you. Like the rooster's crow piercing through the longest night, there comes a moment when every hidden thing must meet the sunrise. Life sometimes plants you in a season where the darkness sits so heavy, you question if the horizon will ever blush gold again. But just as surely as God calls the sun up each morning, this is the hour when the secrets buried in your story are being called to the surface. Think of your journey as a humble gardener tending a field, unaware that underneath a tangle of secret weeds and coiled roots has been quietly choking out your joy and beauty. Now, by divine appointment, the soil is being turned, and what was meant to remain hidden is being unearthed. Every root of jealousy, every rumor disguised as concern, every plot wrapped in silence is being pulled up for all to see. That's the glory of new light, beloved. The schemes that once crept in the shadows are finding no shelter. Just as a seasoned farmer knows it's not enough to prune the visible, he digs until every stubborn root is exposed and cast aside, so too is heaven working in your favor, drawing out every web of deception. Where hands once worked mischief behind your back, now those very hands will be revealed, empty of alibis and stripped of their veils. There's no mask thick enough to withstand the daylight. God is shining over your life. And isn't it just like our Creator to turn the tables in a way no enemy could foresee? At the appointed time, the ones who spun the whispers and brewed the doubts find themselves face to face with the truth they thought would never catch up with them. When that unexpected knock sounds at your door, when you meet their gaze and see that flicker of recognition, it won't be fear in your eyes, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows the dawn is on their side. So step across that threshold, chosen one. Carry the light that cannot be put out, and watch as every shadow that tried to suffocate your promise flees. Let the wind of divine justice sweep away every trace of sabotage and slander. Where once there was midnight silence, now the anthem of truth rises, a melody that cannot be silenced, a harvest of integrity blooming where only weeds were meant to grow. You were never meant to wilt beneath the weight of secrets. You were called to stand tall and strong, a living testament to the God who brings all things into the light. This is your morning, your garden of vindication, and every hidden thing that once threatened your joy is now fertilizer for the greatness you are destined to reveal. Hallelujah, the day has come. Let the sun shine, and let your story unfold in God's unstoppable glory. Imagine stepping into a room where every clock stops, every fork mid-air, every conversation stilled by your arrival. That's the kind of shift your presence brings, like the hand of God pausing the world just long enough for people to see what real authority looks like. Your entrance doesn't just catch attention, it makes the ones who doubted you second-guess their entire playbook. Beloved, the favor that covers you is like a cloak nobody can take off, a light so steady that even the thickest shade of rumor and gossip cannot dim it. For years, there were gatherings you never saw, late-night huddles where your name floated like a secret code word. They passed stories, reshaped facts, and tried to sell your calling as a joke, not realizing the punchline would turn back on them. The smoke and mirrors worked for a season, and maybe you even felt the sting. Their courage was like tissue in the rain, bold behind closed doors, gone at the first sight of your God-given strength. All their plans, all the whispered what-ifs and careful alliances shrank in the brightness of your unwavering spirit. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. You didn't hear every whispered plot. You weren't standing behind every locked door, watching as they built their case out of fragments and shadows. But heaven did. God saw every half-truth stitched together, every piece of your story twisted to fit their own insecurity. And now, oh now, the doors are swinging wide open. The light of truth is flooding those corners, revealing the tangled webs for what they really are. Nothing more than lies desperate to survive another day. Just like the morning sun burning away thick fog, your season of clarity is here, and every story spun in darkness is coming out into the open. It's not just their words that are being exposed, it's the intention behind them. Every smirk, every roll of the eyes, every meeting where your name was tossed like a dice. Those moments were seeds they hoped would choke out your purpose. But what they didn't count on was this. You've been watered by the Spirit, fed by faith, and rooted in ground no man can curse. You were never called to wilt under their projections. You're rising through the soil, breaking through concrete where no flower was supposed to bloom. Just as a seed must endure darkness before it sees the sun, you endured their plots and felt their chill. But the master gardener never left you unattended. When you show up, their courage shrivels like grass in a drought. Their arguments blow away like dry leaves. This is your season to walk bold, not bitter. Let every crooked narrative unravel itself, because the truth is robust. It doesn't need to chase down every rumor. Your testimony is the sunrise. It simply arrives, and the darkness must scatter. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Those webs of gossip and jealousy, they're being swept away as easily as cobwebs in a holy breeze. You don't even have to raise your voice. Just by being who God created you to be, every scheme against you loses its grip. The moment you walk into purpose, tables turn, power shifts, and those who built their reputation on your name must now reckon with the real you. There's no more hiding, no more pretending, no more darkness left to shield the ones who plotted against your calling. Let it be known, you are not defined by the opinions of those who never understood your mission. You're not measured by the rumors that tried to shackle you. You are marked by heaven, set apart by the same hands that hung the stars. The doors that once kept you out have become the gateways for your breakthrough. The stories meant to discredit you have only built a bigger stage for your vindication. Now is not the time to shrink or retaliate in bitterness. You are called to stand tall and let the fruit speak for itself. Just as a healthy tree doesn't argue with the wind, but stands steady and lets its branches bear witness, your life will be the evidence of what God can do with a heart surrendered to Him. The lies that were woven in secret are falling apart in public, and not by your hand, but by the hand of the Lord who fights your battles. So don't waste your breath chasing down every falsehood. Instead, let your peace become your answer, your endurance, your defense, and your joy, your greatest weapon. The ones who laughed at your obedience are about to see why faith always gets the last word. Your reward isn't just exposure, it's restoration. What they tried to snatch in secret, God is multiplying in the open. You're stepping into rooms where the temperature changes because the spirit in you cannot be imitated or ignored. Like a lighthouse on the edge of a stormy coast, your purpose is to shine, no matter how thick the fog. Ships lost at sea will find their way because you never stopped shining. Those who once mocked your foundation will seek shelter in your light when their own plans fall apart. And let's make it clear, this isn't just about clearing your name. It's about setting a new standard. You're not just surviving the backlash, you're thriving in the place they said you'd never reach. Every unfair word, every misquoted story, every closed-door strategy that tried to block your path is now being reversed by divine order. Where they built walls, God is building highways. Where they sowed confusion, God is giving you clarity. Where they tried to bind you, God is lifting you. So walk forward, beloved. Let the world see what God can do with a soul that refuses to stay small. Let your forgiveness be louder than their slander, your patience deeper than their plots. It's your moment to step onto the platform prepared for you. No bitterness, no striving, just the peace of knowing you are walking in favor. What was planned against you has become the very stage for your next miracle. Keep your head high, your heart clean, and your spirit unshakable. When the smoke of confusion clears, the only thing left standing will be your testimony, written not in ink, but in the changed lives and restored destinies you leave in your wake. The sun has risen, and your time to shine cannot be denied. Imagine an old weather vane on a church roof, spinning not just with the wind, but with a heavenly current only the truly awake can feel. That's how your discernment operates, pointing out storms before the sky even darkens. Every time you stepped into a room and the hairs on your arm bristled, or you felt a heaviness settle in your chest, it wasn't just intuition. It was the divine navigation system inside you. It was the Holy Spirit tuning you to frequencies most folks can't even register. While you were busy planting seeds of kindness and faith, others were out there scattering weeds, hoping to choke out your future. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the super thank you button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. They didn't just twist your triumphs, they tried to rewrite your harvest story, painting your labor as luck or even deceit. But the truth is, every step you took was ordered. Every breakthrough was prayed for, and every tear you shed was noticed by heaven. The receipts they collected to harm you, they're nothing but dead leaves now, swept up by a holy wind. God himself is gathering every false narrative and tossing it into the fire, making room for an abundant crop that no hater can wither. And just like a seasoned farmer who trusts the rain will come when it's needed most, you've stayed faithful, waiting, trusting, believing that what's sown in faith will always return in blessing. Now the long season of sabotage is ending. Those digital distortions and whispered accusations are being exposed for what they are: chaff in the wind, unable to stand against the solid grain of your lived testimony. What they meant for your destruction has only made your roots deeper, your branches stronger, and your fruits sweeter. So when the harvest comes, and it is coming, there'll be no question who labored in the light and who hid in the shadows. Every plot to strip you of your joy will be nothing but a footnote in your story of redemption. The evidence that once seemed stacked against you is now the very proof that sets you apart. Because in the economy of heaven, nothing sown in integrity ever returns void. This is your season to stand tall in the field, waving in the sunlight of God's vindication, while the world finally sees the difference between weeds and wheat. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Think of a lone sunflower pushing through a slab of concrete in the middle of a forgotten parking lot. Nobody planned for it, nobody watered it, yet there it is, raising its gold-crowned head higher every day while the asphalt around it cracks in surrender. That, beloved, is the picture of you. Uninvited favor, sprouting where the experts swore nothing good could grow, a living sermon that preaches hope just by standing tall. See, the critics didn't mind an empty space. They minded the miracle that filled it, and because they couldn't uproot what heaven planted, they tried to repaint you as a weed. They stitched together rumors like a scarecrow, hoping its shadow would spook the crowd, then pointed at their own patchwork and hollered, "See? Dangerous." They recycled scraps of insecurity into a storyline where your breakthrough was their breakdown, your promotion, their demotion, your dawn, their dusk. And the saddest part, my friend, is they actually believed the tale they told. Believed it so fiercely that the lie felt safer than the truth. Yet the soil never took orders from their worry, and the sun never asked their permission to shine. God kept pouring warmth, kept sending rain, kept whispering, "Grow anyway," while they scribbled chapters of sabotage nobody asked to read. They drew blueprints for a tower of accusation, but the bricks wouldn't stack. Every time they pushed one rumor into place, genuine kindness slid it back out of alignment. Every whispered slight hit the atmosphere and came home empty, like an arrow fired into a hurricane. They wanted applause for pulling you down, but the audience only yawned at the tantrum. Their fear, dressed up in righteous robes, couldn't disguise the absence of fruit. And after a while, even they got tired of clapping for their own echo. Here's the good news. Heaven's accounting department never loses a receipt. The blessings you carry are never debited from anyone else's ledger. Your increase doesn't equal their decrease, and your light doesn't drain their lamp. It only proves the switch still works if they dare flip it. But jealousy has poor eyesight. It sees somebody else's harvest and forgets there's still seed in its own hand. So they turned a mirror toward you, but angled it just enough to catch their own reflection. Then panicked when the image didn't match the costume. That's why they kept sewing new motives onto you. If the villain keeps changing clothes, nobody notices the plot holes. Yet every costume ripped the moment love walked in the room, because love has better scissors than gossip ever will. Now watch how God flips the script without a single punchline. The same mouths that labeled you too much will soon ask for your advice, because wisdom leaves breadcrumbs in the wilderness and they're starving for direction. The same eyes that rolled at your gratitude will one day read policy drafts you write, and the same hands that slammed doors will quietly steady them as you install new hinges. You'll find yourself signing paychecks in an office once barred to you, not out of revenge, but restoration. Family tables that cracked under accusation will be reinforced by the nails of your patience, and children who heard the gossip will learn harmony by the sound of your forgiveness. You'll preach a sermon without a pulpit when you choose blessing over bitterness, and the hallway will listen even if the sanctuary is empty. Hear me. Your assignment is bigger than a clapback, larger than a victory dance on someone else's disappointment. God didn't preserve you in the furnace just to see you roast the critics. He preserved you so you could rescue the next pilgrim stumbling through the smoke. Your scars are His endorsement letter, and they read, "Certified fireproof, handle with honor." While naysayers shuffle fresh scripts looking for an ending that fits their fantasy, you'll be out here writing a preface to a generation that thought dreams had an expiration date. Your testimony will do more than clear your name. It will lay asphalt over potholes in every system you touch, from cubicle corridors to kitchen tables to sanctuary aisles. And don't worry about running out of grace. Heaven's warehouse is stocked floor to ceiling, and shipments leave hourly. The more mercy you release, the more room you create for fresh supply. That's why bitterness feels heavy. It hoards space where new blessings want to land. Let offense evaporate like morning dew, and watch favor condense on everything you set your hand to. Policies will pivot, because integrity walks in with you. Boardrooms will recalibrate when excellence pulls up a chair. Neighborhood squabbles will hush when compassion passes out homemade bread. Church vision will sharpen when your story proves that prophecy still outruns persecution. Picture a scarecrow on a Kansas highway, stuffed with straw, arms stretched wide, trying its best to look alive. From a distance, it seems in charge of the whole field. But the closer you drive, the more you realize it can't so much as wiggle a finger without the wind's permission. Beloved, that's the level of power the mastermind really holds over you. Paper bones, borrowed buttons for eyes, and a reputation stitched together with yesterday's rumors. For years, this behind-the-scenes plotter tugged invisible strings, rearranging people like chess pieces, slipping suggestions into casual coffee chats, sprinkling questions into prayer circles, nudging managers to keep an eye on you. They filed paperwork in secret, rewrote meeting minutes, and pulled bright-eyed co-workers into midnight strategy calls, all before sunrise could catch them in the act. But heaven has rolled back the curtain. The ledger hiding every hush-hush payout, the timeline marking each whispered phone call, the roster of hesitant accomplices. Every page is about to be read aloud, front row, center stage. You might wonder why the Lord allowed the spotlight to wait this long. Friend, oak trees don't sprout overnight, and neither does credibility. While the puppeteer choreographed shadows, God was etching depth into your bark, widening your rings with each season. Now, your testimony carries lumberyard strength. When you speak, folks who once shrugged their shoulders will sit up like jurors hearing the only eyewitness in a trial. The very people drafted, sometimes unwittingly, into the smear campaign will step forward shaking their heads, saying, I don't know how I missed the truth, but I see it plain today. Here's the holy twist. The same web spun to choke, you will serve as the net that hauls in a harvest of redemption. Policies in the workplace will pivot toward transparency because your unflinching honesty exposes the fine print everyone else ignored. Family members who traded warm hugs for cold suspicion will find themselves dialing your number, humbled by the grace that flows when you answer. Small-town congregations, tired of vision statements with no vision, will invite you to share how God turned a smear into a semicolon, how the story kept going long after critics wrote the end. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. And while the master puppeteer fumbles to snip the final string, heaven is handing you fresh blueprints. Reconciliation where bitterness once festered, promotion where paperwork stalled, creative ideas where brainstorming sessions used to end in blank stares. You won't just prove them wrong, you'll prove God right, demonstrating that vindication isn't about payback, it's about pay forward. Your next steps will bankroll scholarships, sponsor outreach projects, rewrite hiring guidelines, and pave on-ramps for voices the old guard tried to silence. So lift your chin, shake the dust off your coat. The scarecrow's straw is already scattering across the field, and the only wind left blowing is the Spirit of the living God, propelling you into fields white for harvest. Keep your hands open, your heart soft, and your story ready. Because when the spotlight swings, the world won't just hear what the puppeteer did, they'll hear what the Savior did through you. Their strategy was always to work from the corners, never the center stage. They didn't want to spar face to face, so they threw pebbles from the dark, sowing suspicions, arranging secret huddles, lurking on your pages for any hint of misstep. Like a wolf circling the edge of camp, they waited for a stumble to turn into a story. Every minor flaw, every slip was magnified and broadcast with glee, all in hopes you'd shrink back in shame. But the real trick in their bag was distortion, mirrors that warped your reflection into something grotesque. Speak your mind, and you're too much. Hold your peace, and you're hiding something. Celebrate, and you're boastful. Stay reserved, and you're heartless. Their funhouse never showed your true image, only the twisted, flickering shadows of their own insecurities. The stage was set, the deck stacked against you, but the time for illusions is ending, and now the script is being rewritten. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Like an old circus tent folding at the end of the show, their house of illusions finally collapses. Every sticky label they tried to slap on you, too loud, too soft, too intense, too detached, has lost its hold. They spun the wheel, hoping you'd land on something that didn't fit, but you never stopped standing where you were planted. You outlasted their masquerade, anchored in the knowledge that your reflection was shaped by a higher hand, one that crafted your spirit long before the world weighed in.